Hi, and welcome to the back of Pelham Bay Park. Pelham Bay Park is known as the largest public park in New York City. It is filled with a variety of activities one can participate in, like playing baseball, taking your dog to the dog park like you see on the right, and working out in the new outdoor gym they recently built. Many prefer going for a walk because this park is filled with beautiful trees, flowers, and animals. It is also connected to both City Island and Orchard Beach. So during the summer, people take advantage of the weather and go for a bike ride to those destinations to admire the nature. Living nearby has allowed me to take a walk in the park at least once a week since I was 14 years old. Each time, me and my friends would try to go through a different route, and through word of mouth from our peers is how we found this spot, called the Chill Spot. When I first discovered this area, people were banned, and if you were caught sitting in this area, you would get asked to leave. The workers of the park would call the cops on you if you didn't. On the right here is where they're located. It was easy for them to catch you trespassing because their office was next to the dog park. This leads to what I learned about it. In 1963 to 1979, sanitation ran the back as a landfill, or in other words, a city dump. It covers 81 acres of land that bordered Eastchester Bay, Pelham Bay Park, Co-op, and Country Club. Starting in 1988, there began to be found rates of leukemia in children and some adults. Those who obtained leukemia lived the closest to the landfill. 13 children ended up being affected and 2 adults, 3 who ended up dying. The last case was found in 1996, which is actually the year I was born. Many got sick because they played and swam near the landfill. This leads to the reason that leukemia was found after 1979 when the landfill was already closed was because toxic waste kept being dumped illegally. Companies decided to dump whatever they wanted. It was supposed to be household items only, such as empty tuna cans and shredded bills, but companies decided to throw oils and toxins in, such as xylene and ethylbenzene. There was even bribery found where an oil refinery worker bribed one of the sanitation workers to dump his toxic waste in the landfill. Many people began to notice it was intoxicated because of the awful rare smell, stuff leaking into the bay, and seeing haze around the area closest to it. After a couple of years of banning anyone from going near the landfill, in 2011 people were given the green light for park goers to use the Pelham Bay landfill for recreational purposes. It was officially removed from the list of toxic sites, and new hiking and walking trails, which you see in this video, were developed. They even replenished the soil where they tested, treated, and seeded it, and they planted landscape islands. So this is what it is today. If you look in front of you, those are one of the hiking trails that they recently added for people to walk in the back of the park. And these gates are the gates that they added to prevent people from going to the landfill, and they never took it down ever since. Yet, those gates never stopped people from coming to this area. And this is how people would get back to the rocks and sit on it to just hang out and look at the view. I didn't want to make it too obvious or too awkward, but that couple is an example of how people come back here and just sit there to just smoke, drink, hang out, eat, whatever they want to do. It was also interesting to find that the water levels have gone down since I was a child because these rocks used to all be covered with water.
The shooting range.
Guess you could say that's another thing that kept people interested in this site. The guns you could hear from the shooting range. I also noticed these rocks that people would climb throughout the day, and my friend was nice enough to send me a picture from his bonfire. I had the opportunity to talk to a worker from here. I actually followed him until he noticed me. He was kind of rude and did not allow me to record him, but he did say that he didn't know why people were prevented from coming back here, because it was before his time. He also mentioned that it wasn't until recently, a few years ago, that they began to let people come back to this site. This spot where I'm zooming in is how cops would come back here and catch people who were unauthorized to be here. FYI, I only came back here when I was allowed. I only know about this because of my peers.
Oh no, I'm doing a project for school.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Good luck.
Thank you. Do you want to be a part of it?
Not really.
It's okay. You're welcome.
A great example of why I only did the natural observation approach. Many people didn't want to be recorded or interviewed. I guess you can say because they were too busy relaxing and they just wanted to enjoy their time. Right here is me pointing out how clear the water is, which is actually shocking and amazing compared to how dirty it looks from far away. Doing this project made me think about the video we saw, the social life of small urban spaces, and everything we talked about public spaces in general. People in this area are very attracted to the rocks they can sit on to watch the view. Rarely anyone comes here and stands. Eventually, they find a spot to sit down. Many are attracted to the water that they can touch and have their dogs splash in it, and they do too, if they're crazy enough to do so. I would consider this area wheelchair accessible, but simply the rocks make it a bumpy ride for them. But because of no stairs or anything involved, it is accessible to anyone who wants to go to the sand section. The other parts would be too hard for them to get to. One thing I noticed is that everyone kept to themselves and stayed by themselves. This was an area for them to be at peace and to think. There was no crowding or people being loud. Also, areas where some people would go to are where others would follow their footsteps and go there as well. Overall, people who started teaching others of this site made more people come back here because, as we learned in class, if a place is alive, it makes it feel safe for everyone. And this is how everyone exits. Thank you for watching.